Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS here, back with another video. I know I've discussed some of these ideas before about Italian football and my dreams for Italian football gaining investment, as much investment as possible, and things like that. But as it's my birthday in exactly a week, one thing I hope is that people will support my channel. But I hope that didn't look too creepy, that wink. But yeah, I thought I'd upload this video. I wasn't sure whether to upload it, but I'm really passionate about some of these ideas. I thought I'd express it. A lot of time I try and write up ideas, but because of my punctuation and things like that, that's one of the reasons why I sometimes upload them to YouTube. But anyway, yeah, sorry if I'm waffling. Yeah, I know I discussed some of these ideas before, and I put a birthday wish, but actually it's more a series of wishes, really. Hence, I put actually wishes in the plural. Anyway, I'm going to be 40 next week. I was going to say next month. Unfortunately, next week I'm not really looking forward to it, but they do say life begins at 40. But yeah, hopefully it'll be better than I anticipate, but I'm not really looking forward to getting older and there's even more hair or stuff like that. But anyway, as I mentioned before, like I would love for companies, and even entire countries to invest in Italian teams. And due to my patterns and alliterations, as it's a Monday, I thought as ever I'd love to talk about Italian teams that begin with an M, like Monza, and some ideas to do with Monza and things like that, and AC Milan and Inter Milan, and how I'd love for wealthy owners to invest in them, like the P.I.F, which stands for Public Investment Fund, was thinking of investing in Inter Milan apparently. So I would love them. I think it would be quite fitting if they did so on my birthday. I'd love to hear what you think. Whether you think I'm just being nuts, or if you think it would be fitting, or whatever your thoughts are on that. But yeah, I think it would be quite fitting if they did so on my birthday, and yeah, if they bought Inter Milan for like £1 billion sterling or something like that, and then invested loads of money in the club. I mean, I suppose they could afford it, but maybe Sunning, the current owners, could own like a minority share, like 1% or something like that, or 10%, or somewhere in between, like 5% or whatever, maybe even 6 or 7%, whatever it is. But I think it'd be great to see loads of investors investing in Inter Milan. I would love for I.B.M for some reason, and again, due to my patterns and stuff like that, I'd love it to be like I.B.M for Inter Milan, P.I.F for Inter Milan, and things like that. So, and with AC Milan, I would love for them to be, even Microsoft, I would love to invest in Inter Milan. And AC Milan, I would love for like companies like Apple, because Apple and Amazon and Alibaba, because it's AC Milan. And again, I know I mentioned in the past, but I would love for maybe AC Milan, for Apple and Alibaba and Amazon and other companies that begin with A, or even entire countries perhaps, maybe they could sell their products in, or as close as possible to the stores, or have their own, like to the stadium, and like invest in their own stadiums and stands where they could use it for their PR, but in return invest in the club. So again, apologies for repeating myself, but I know I mentioned before, but I would love to say for the clubs, for AC Milan in this case, to benefit by having increased investment and being able to buy better players and invest in the academies, and whatever other costs a club has, like marketing and branding, having sports clubs and academies around the world, including in developing countries, and for indigenous people from Australasia and the Americas, as well as Africa and Asia and elsewhere. So the club hopefully would benefit by that increased investment, as I say, buying better players, having better academies, including in Italy and around the world, and also, as I say, whatever other costs a club has. I think it'd be quite fitting if all these companies invested on my birthday in these clubs, and also invested. Also what would be in it for the companies would be they would be able to sell their, like Apple could have their own Apple stores in or as close as possible to the stadium or stadiums, including possibly in the youth academies, and maybe in the club shops themselves, whatever. There could be an Apple store either next to it or near it or whatever, or even in those stores, and also or as close as possible, so like fans have more access. So obviously they could sell more of their stuff, and maybe they could donate 10% of the profits, what they make from the Apple stores in Milan, back into the club, and things like that, again into football development, either buying better players or youth development, or things like that. And as often mentioned, like with great power comes great responsibility. So it would be great, I think, if they invested like 10% into their foundations, which could include having academies in developing countries to help people in developing countries to get into football and to practice their footballing abilities and have opportunities to become footballers in places like Nigeria and Cameroon and Kenya and indigenous communities in Australasia and the Americas and Asia and places like that, but also to develop young Italian footballers. But again, the companies hopefully will benefit by being able to market themselves, obviously enhance their PR, and they'll be able to have their products in stores, I'll say, and maybe they could sponsor like stands or things like that, which have their own company logos and names on. And also, there's again, sorry if I mentioned this a while back, but there a football club called Hull City here in the UK. They changed the name. The owners changed the name into Hull City Tigers, and there was like a massive protest. So I was wondering what Milan fans, AC Milan fans would think, or Inter Milan fans would think, if their club, like if the owners changed the logo and changed the name and some of the history, as long as they were providing funds for the club to improve. I wonder whether fans would mind. So I'd love to hear from AC Milan and Inter Milan fans and Monza fans as well about what they would like to see for their clubs respectively, and as a fan of Italian football generally, but also like whether they would welcome the investment, and what's more important to them, like retaining the culture or the history or the traditions of the club, or respectively of their respective clubs, or having that increased investment, or winning trophies. Like, to me, winning trophies is the most important, but I can understand some fans want to maintain the history. But I was thinking it could just be nicknames like Apple, Calcium, and things like that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm out. Peace and love.